Greg Simmons, Matt Davio back on a Friday. What are we? February 24th. And what I call, Greg, probably the slowest month on record in easily 10 years of trading for me.
Yeah, I had been trying to capitalize on that, if you would, with the volatility. They have this silly TVIX thing, so I turned a bunch of people onto it, and I think a week or two ago I was getting twitted up into oblivion about people thanking me because it went from like 14 to like 20 and they got excited or whatever.
Right.
But at the end of the day, just a day or two ago, they announced that some structural thing I can't even understand. I mean, unless you've been burned, like, I've talked about ad nauseum, like with the PIMCO, where you get your money stranded in 7-day AAA paper, you start getting paranoid. So they announced, I guess for people that understand these ETFs or ETNs better than me, this UNG a few years ago halted trading for like a week because they couldn't issue more shares, and then you got this backwardation contango, and anybody that remembers our previous conversations is I was in that XIV because I can never get long because I'm a bear,
right?
And it didn't do what it was supposed to do. Sure, it went from the 4s and 5s to $9. I mean, it was a win, but
yeah. So again, I've seen people chatting about this TVIX. ETF, ETN, I don't even know which one it is. I see the volume went crazy here, like you said, was trading 20 million shares a day.
40 million.
40 million.
To 40. So, it was, it just went crazy. And there was the next day after the 40 odd million, when I started trading, it was like trading 2 million or a million. So I started looking into the pro shares because I feel if there's anything, people can say whatever they want, but if there's anything I know, it's volatility. I mean, if you go back to, my ancient press from Barron's or Reuters or when I ran the fund, I ran an S&P 500 option fund. That's what I did for a living, was essentially trade volatility, and my market calls were the best market calls I made were volatility related. I have several articles and things to that end. And so where I'm, for sure supposed to be, knowledgeable is this area. And, the thing that throws me off is you've never been able to trade VIX. So you always had to go make some convoluted deal with a bunch of spreads, do butterflies or do something in the S&P, or, then they start creating these spiders and people don't know they're not getting the good tax treatment. And so, all this crazy fucked up things. And so now all of a sudden they say to you, now you can trade VIX, Greg. And then they take it away. It's like, here you go. We're just kidding. I find it, I trade it, I don't get paid the right money on XIV. And then I trade TVIX, and I have some good goes. It was certainly tradable. But when you start reading the prospectus, these ETNs, you're giving a note, you're just lending money to Credit Suisse.
Right.
Well, PIMCO is in the process of screwing me, and MFS, and Nuveen and everything. So people don't understand even what they're invested in and trading in. And so, to me, I'm just like, finally, evidently, TradeStation and the CBOE, a legitimate entity, has issued VIX futures. We have regular old VIX futures. We all can level the playing field and not deal with these funds dealing with this backwardation, contango. My research on it, today is a perfect day for you to call because I stayed up around the clock on Wednesday and spent a lot of time yesterday. So future,
where are the VIX futures? They're on the CBOE, and what are they? I'm unfamiliar with the product. It's got to be brand new.
It's brand new. We're just all virgins here. I have trades out already. I'm in. So I'm getting rid of all this toxic garbage. I'm literally going to go to the point where I disconnect the NYSE and the Amex. I mean, I'm going to not pay the $1 data fees to TradeStation. Like, I swear, I'm going to literally turn off the ability to even look at an equity. I'm not going to be able to give somebody a quote on Apple if they needed it. I'm getting rid of, I mean, I am going to, treasuries, which I'm only doing usually with futures, or I'm long the treasuries, and futures, and I think I can purge myself finally for the rest of my natural born days.
Good.
From any of these.
So what's the symbol on this? I haven't even looked at it. I haven't seen it.
The symbol, which you cannot get the continuous contract, which is throwing me off. So for right now for March, that lasts till the third Friday. I mean, I do know a lot about these VIX. I mean, compared to anybody, I guess I know a lot. It's VXH12 is, so it trades in the regular cycle, kind of like crude oil. It rolls every month.
Okay.
And the beauty of it is I'm seeing just a huge amount of arbitrage. They were all climbing all over one another back on the 18th. They were all correlated at the same price. Every one of them was trading, at the same, and percentage-wise now they're going crazy. So
they're coming into line finally, right?
Well, or no, they're whacking, or we can't decide. I'm making a copy of this workspace so I don't lose my percentage one, but it looks like June. I mean, this is really interesting for people in the market.
And that would be VXM12. I would
exactly.
Yeah.
But there's every single month, and there's volume to every single month. So the people that are running. It's exactly like, Spider helps some people out. So rather than buying 500 stocks, they can go buy the Spider if they wanted the stock exposure.
Right.
Now, again, for people that don't understand, they should be doing SPX because you would get the favorable tax treatment, and the Spider's no good, but for ease of use, I guess, but I still think that, there's a lot of risk. You have an additional risk in the SPY that you don't have in doing SPX that settles in cash because they collected the cash.
I think that the bottom line to this discussion, Greg, is all ETFs, ETNs are a derivative of the true, and there's slippage costs that you're paying to be participating in a derivative that doesn't even mirror the real item, whatever it is, whether it's VIX, whether it's the S&P, whether it's the Nasdaq Dow, wheat, corn. You want to be in the real. You don't want to be in the fake ETNs. That's the bottom line.
It's similar to the metals. Why would you trade paper when you could trade the physical metal? I mean, if you want to own gold, go buy some gold and put it away. Look, silver, I broke it out of its case. I'm so sick. Somebody gave me this the other day. It's a half a kilo of some Australian thing. The reason why I wanted it, it's a half a kilo. What's so cool about it is it has a picture of a dog drawn on it.
So it's a German Shepherd on the one side, and it looks like Caesar or somebody from Roman times on the back side.
It's some queen, some Australian gal.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. It's pretty curvy though for a paperweight. I probably shouldn't have busted it out of its plastic. My sense is it's not worth anything other than the silver value. But I have all the Disney coins for my kid, all the Alice in Wonderland and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and all that. I should get the gold ones. Those are really cool too.
Let me ask you a couple questions. The Eurozone GDP is around 16 trillion. Is that kind of a number you've seen out there?
Really? I didn't realize it was that high. I mean, what I saw, I sent you that punk rock thing today on Europe, right?
Yeah. So if the Euro banks are losing money or lost money on the Greek and the Italian debt, wouldn't that raise the value of the euro going forward?
By definition, you would think so.
Okay.
But that's by definition. I mean, when somebody comes and downgrades the U.S. as a country, you would think their borrowing costs would in fact go up, and interest rates didn't go up after they got downgraded. So, that's by definition. Why didn't I get paid on my 2 years at that time?
Right.
Yeah, it sounds like sour grapes, but I mean, I'm looking at volatility in June right now, and they say the VIX is supposed to be 2680. And here we are as a teenager, right? So, I mean, where did VIX go up tonight? 17. It was in the 16s last night. You know, we're in a situation where the complacency is really heavy. If I look at a chart on the S&P 500, it just looks like, you know, if it was just a chart somebody showing you and you don't know anything about anything, you say, geez, you know, this is a really, I mean, if you turn it into cut off a decimal point or whatever, and somebody says, you know, what do you think of this chart? You'd say, God, this thing looks like it's going to go from, you know, 1360 to, you know, it's a $13 stock, and, you know, can it get to 15? Hell, it could get to 20.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, you could do a symmetrical move higher and be trading at 18, 19, no problem. I mean, why not, right?
Right.
I mean, there's no end in sight to the distance that the markets can go when you remove logic and reason. But I will tell you, my sense to you is the smartest money out there is probably the guys in here trading these volatility futures, because, you know, if the volume's not really that high in them yet either. And you know, I think that it's kind of like the gold and silver. I know everybody can take this to the bank. I can guarantee it with all my might. I'll guarantee it with any bet anybody wants to make. I know GLD does not have $80-odd billion worth of gold. I swear, if anybody thinks they do, I just got all kinds of things to sell you. but people, billionaires own GLD. Everybody is wallowing in the mud. I guess the whole conversation's about is ETF, ETN, blah, blah, blah. Unless you've been stranded in 7-day riskless paper with HIMCO, you don't have enough, you know, you don't have enough bitterness in you like I do that you need to be worried. Now, when I look at this product, these guys are not doing the hedging. The guys that are doing 40 million shares of TVIX are not using these fucking futures. I can guarantee you, because the volume's not there.
Right.
It's the same as GLD doesn't have the gold.
So you're leading into a question which I want to talk about, which is the same. It's really the same thing you're talking about. MF Global fits into the same suit that you're talking about. So what do you think about what's going on there?
Well, it is the exact same. That's exactly my point. Is Credit Suisse, when you go out and you buy TVIX or you buy XIV, which I'm guilty of, right? Not anymore. Good luck, ladies and gentlemen. I'm done with it. But, you know, when you own the fund, they supposedly gather some assets. But again, the volume it's not backing it.
Right.
But when you talk about MFS and all these shenanigans and this Cozone guy or whatever he is, this is the same fucker that was tied into long-term capital. He was the head of Goldman at the time. People keep forgetting about all these villains we have. They act like, you know, Robert Rubin is not the most evil guy on the planet. I mean, we never even talk about Robert Rubin. This guy is the biggest criminal that ever existed.
Yeah.
So, you know, we go in and we take this Cozone guy and he
Rubin, Summers, Corzine, you know, they make Henry Paulson look saintly.
Yeah, no, and then you ask me if Credit Suisse, you know, do I want to lend them money in a structured note where their prospectus is crystal clear and says that they could be using this paper to, you know, get low and hookers?
Yeah.
They can do whatever they know. It could just be a big pile of cocaine and a bunch of hookers. This thing could look like, you know, there is nothing stopping them. You told them, I'm going to lend you money, you know, party down. And so, you know, how that gives anybody the solace to hold these things overnight or even trade them during the day. I mean, when they broke their chartery thing and they had too many shares or there's too much, you could be just sitting there. Can you imagine? I had the flashback of this, right? I was thinking to myself, all right, you know, I'm long, you know, a handful, 5,000, 10,000, whatever, TVIX, right? And we have a flash crash. And they come out and halt trading in the thing, right? For 3 or 4 days. And now you can't trade out of the thing. And you're trying to do the calculation in your head as far as how many futures you need to be buying to offset, and then not including the margin or whatever, or you don't know how far it's going to go. It's just you're trying to do a random calculation on the fly as you're not getting paid by being right, because this thing went from $15 to $110 like that.
Right.
So it wasn't around during the flash crash. So if it was around during the flash crash, it would have went to 200 or 300 or something, right?
Absolutely.
Can you imagine? It'll be the day. You mark my words. The next flash crash will be the day that they halt trading in that kind of thing and burn the.
So maybe, Greg, now that we're 37, 38 trading days into 2012 and we haven't had a decline of more than 0.6%, maybe that's the new paradigm, is we will never go down, we will never flash crash. There's always a buy button on at the whoever the invisible hand may be. I mean, we were talking about VIX being a teenager, but I told you before we came on, it feels lower than the 9 to 12 that we traded in from 2003 to 5 for those 2.5, 3 years.
I was buying VXX calls. I started buying them at 25 last year. I'm having complete deja vu flashback. I started buying, VXX calls in the money. I was buying like the 20s when it was 25.
Right.
And I bought them all the way down. They went to the teens, and then they're explaining to me that I'm getting screwed because of backwardation, because they know the market's never going to go down again. So I guess June would have been trading at a discount to May if these options existed, or if they did exist, I couldn't see them at the time.
Right.
So they're explaining to me why, and as soon as I could breathe again, it lasted for so many months of the market just grinding higher that the second I saw daylight, I was reducing. And I ended up making, good money on the trade by, entering the trade piece by piece. And we talked about it. I mean, I'm sure we have a video when I said I'm buying volatility here. And I feel the same way right now is, I can't really share my idea right now because I don't want anybody to do it and then,
so the figure out the macro idea right now, Greg, is buy some volatility, however but don't do it with the ETN, ETF products. Go out and buy the futures if you must. Play in that field,
Riddle me this though, the March 20th, right?
Yeah.
The March 20th futures are trading at 21. So, do we have a great big erosion pattern?
Right.
I mean, you could make an argument. I mean, just for the sake of arguing, you could make an argument that you could buy April at 24 and sell March at 21, but if the market gets cracked between now and March 20th, you're going to get run down because the front month vol is going to run over the back month vol. I'm not suggesting to people that they do that, but if you did nothing, you'd probably pick up about 3 points in premium. So there's a lot of ways to be playing these volatility futures. I'll tell you that. I'm very happy.
Let's switch gears. The volume's really low. MF Global, I think, has hurt a lot of the volume that's come into the markets. Do you think, as I've said, personally, I've traded less this year than I have, and I can't even remember the last time. Maybe some August period where we had the traditional slowdown. Is volume a concern for you as a regular participant in these markets?
Only when you bring it up like that. It's I scalped today. I'm short NASDAQ and long S&P, and I sold my S&P and bought the Dow. And then at the end of the day, I sold the Dow and bought the S&P back. So, I'm literally either so bored and looking for busy work, or, I'm adding to my NASDAQ S&P and then taking it off for 30 and 40 cents just off of my work. I get buy and sell signals on 20-minute bars. So, I'm in trades for an hour all the time, but I don't know what it is. I just want them to turn the machines back on. I feel like it's the end of that trading places thing. And the guys on the ground, they're saying, turn the machines back on. Everybody says they don't like the robots and all this, but I mean, anything's better than this boredom. I mean, give me 30 vol. I remember back in the 90s, when I was really learning directional trading and trying to leave market neutral, I was like, if I couldn't see, 12 to 15 S&P point range, for the day, it wasn't worth trading. I think it was actually 20. If I couldn't see 20 handles up and down, so we were going to be down 10 and then flip to be up 10, or be down 20 on the day, or up 20, or if you couldn't see 20 handles, you didn't even really want to play, and the market wasn't really at a different level than we are today. And 20 handles today, 2 weeks ago on a Friday, or a week ago on a Friday, when TVIX spikes up to 21, it was like on an 8-handle drop. I mean, so the poor people that are trading S&P, that's why I got so, I guess the answer is I'm so wrapped up in volatility right now, because it's the only place that you have percentage moves.
Yeah.
Volatility yesterday was down 7-8%. At least you got action.
Today's a perfect example, Greg. I mean, open real trading hours, not Globex, but just open 67.5, 61.5. 6 points. 6 points on the ES today. All you saw. And that's been pretty typical. There's been a couple days where we've stretched to 13 or 14, not even 1%. I'm talking total range, not open to close. I'm just talking total composite range in the entire day.
They're stopping the markets. They're closing the system down, and there's sneaky things happening. I mean, I guess I should be throwing a party. I mean, gold, everything's so linked, as we've discussed. Yeah. You've got gold and silver going up like crazy. Remember, I was long all that. I am still physically long platinum. I mean, I finally have got my money back on my long platinum play when I was selling gold up at 1800, and then on the little drop in platinum I started buying it, and the thing went off a cliff. Yeah. And it was trading at a $200 discount to gold, and now gold and platinum have reconvened close to parity. But, I converted a lot of gold to silver and platinum. I don't know if it was 6 months ago or whatnot, but the metals are just, are they telling the story that we're in trouble, or that we're going to new highs, or there's just no place to put money? This is the hardest. Whenever realtors are making easy money, real estate's in real trouble, right? I remember a property management person I had. She used to live at the property. Big moo-moo wearing gal, big thick yellow toenails, hair, much hairier than me. She was like this bearded lady. She smelled really bad. And she used to manage this property for me. And one day when I met her at the property, she told me she's quitting. And she was great at getting the rent. She would just get a lounge chair and just sit down in front of the place and start knitting and whatever the fuck all she did. And she would get my rent. And I said, "You can't leave me." No. She goes, "No, I got my real estate license." And I went and sold my buildings. I had a 14 unit and an 8 unit over in Inglewood, Hawthorne, and it was, really not very nice places. And this gal was relentless. And when she's going to sell real estate, I figure we got to be at the top. And this was the 80s bubble, right? Right. And so when the dumbest people I know are saying, "Oh, I'm just going to own the dividend-paying multinational blue chips, and I'm going to be fine. Nothing can touch me." And volatility's in the teens. I can't tell you when they're gonna shake this up, but man, I gotta tell you, whatever money's been made is gonna get given back so fast. When you go up like we have with no volume, like what you just said, creeps me out. When you go up on 1,000 shares a day, 1,000 shares a day, 1,000 shares a day, and then you have 100,000 share day, you're going to give up months and months of hard work in no time at all, and this ball is going to double. Yeah. We are going to, anybody that thinks that the business cycle's over through the Fed shenanigans and the banksters' little games, and if they think Greece is fixed, they should watch that punk video thing. I think I sent it to you. You of all people would love it. And
so you're leading me into the next question. Here we are, late February. We are, let's call it 8 months until the election. Who are you voting for?
I've never registered to vote. You forget. I'm apolitical.
But I want you to tell me who you would vote for.
I still think that I should get the nod.
Okay. That's all I want to hear. All right.
I think that I could wake up in the morning, and while I have my morning coffee and kind of just square my head and kind of look at my screens, somebody could just bring in a list of the day's problems, be it like oil leaking in the ocean or whatever it is, and I think I could do a better job just randomly guessing than the people that are doing it. Politically, we should take the best people, the absolute smartest minds. They should be forced. Like, you get forced into jury duty, right?
Right.
If I were to run politics, actually I don't want to do it because I don't feel like spending my time on it. So what I think should happen is you should go to the World Poker Tour and you should go to the last 5 final tables and take those people and give them no choice and say, you're coming in to run finance in this country. And we should go to the comedians and go get these rich guys, these Jay Leno, I don't know anything about the guy, this Jerry Seinfeld guy. We should go get the comedians that, have worked and stood on stage and made up all these funny jokes and really thought things through. I don't like that Marr guy. I like to punch him in the head. I don't like him. But you could take people like this Colbert guy, don't know anything about, people that I respect, Jon Stewart. I mean, you watch him tear Kramer up. Right. You go take those guys and say, you guys are the one to make policy and make, decisions. We should recruit the best minds we have. And we spend too much, intellectual firepower at these poker tables, and we spend too much thoughtful firepower making jokes.
So those should you're kind of
fucking attorneys.
So, Greg, you're kind of suggesting a Manhattan Project, if you will, for government, for retooling the government.
We should just go take all of Congress, who's the main Congress guy? Who's the biggest guy out there?
Boehner.
Who's the
Boehner now?
Whoever the vice. Here, Jon Stewart, you're vice president. Jerry Seinfeld, you're real rich. You get to be the president. Bill Ivey, you're the best poker player in the world. You're secretary of the treasurer. Figure out our debt. Go play cards with all these guys. Figure out where all the ducks need to line up. Go find smart people to do smart fucking work. Why hire dummies? If somebody told me that, I would get involved. I'd be like, oh no, that Bill Maher guy's an idiot. I don't like him. You don't get to play. I'd vote. If you
I love it. Bring Oprah in there. Bring anybody we can. Let's get some fresh ideas.
Find people that are smart. Trump is a buffoon with, this cotton candy hair, and he's a fucking idiot. He's got this TV, and he marries these toxic Barbie doll plastic fucking freaks. I can't even figure it out. But damn, if you hear him talk about politics, he makes like sense. He says, wait a minute, and then he goes around bankrupting everything. Yeah. And he would be better. He would be better than anybody that's run the country in decades and decades. You need somebody that actually could make money. I guess this Romney guy, what has he got, like 20 wives, and he's some sort of hillbilly Mormon guy? I don't know anything about him. Everybody says he's a bad guy because he's a conservative or whatever. But, the bottom line is at least he ran something successfully, maybe a business. But,
Yeah. He made a lot of money at Bain Capital, and I have no problem with investment bankers buying assets cheap and turning them around. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh shit, it's that. No, I don't want anybody that's been in this scummy business. I used to think that the guys at Goldman had more talent than me, and all I found out is they just had some other scam, or they're like Paulson. They got to go make their own paper that's going to go bankrupt. I thought that they out-traded me. I thought they were smarter than me. I thought that school gave them some sort of pedigree. I didn't realize that me doing 5% a month for 60 months was really good, but no, it was no good because these investment banker guys were making billions and billions of dollars. While I'm making millions of dollars, I'm a peasant to them.
Yeah, right.
And it turned out that they were just robbing and thieving, and I just don't have that in me.
Again, when the Chinese wall is as thin as it is, it's easy. Going on to thin Chinese walls and superstars, Warren Buffett's letter, he's one of your best friends, comes out tomorrow. Are you going to be reading that 28-page tome?
What's he popping off about now?
No, it's just his annual pilgrimage to the Warren Buffett Dome. His letter comes out to all his investors, to the Berkshire holders.
I honestly believe if you could roll back the clock and you had two lines. One is in terms of like honesty and integrity and everything, and you had two lines, and one is Jim Jones serving up poison fucking Kool-Aid, or Warren Buffett lying his fucking ass off, and I had to join one of the two lines. I'm gonna go down the fucking Kool-Aid. I would do anything to avoid this fucking Shylock, loan shark, scumbag. Go back to long-term capital. Warren Buffett's a scumbag. Go. I mean, you know, the level of this guy, I mean, I could do 25 Warren Buffett videos on how many times this guy's out robbing and thieving. He's absolutely a gangster. At least I like gangsters. You know, I think John Gotti was interesting. You know what I mean? Gangsters are at least cool and they're relatively honest. Warren Buffett just robs everybody and does it with a straight face. I was playing with my little rubber ducky in the tub, and then I decided to take you all to fucking cleaners on some 15% preferred, and then I'm going to do Goldman Sachs the day before the government bailout with the commercial paper, and then people come and attack me on my videos. Don't you talk about Warren Buffett that way. He's done this for this many months, or this green heart, green light guy, he's so brilliant, he's so great. Yeah, he's real good. More insider trading. You know what? You know, I'm the best straight A student we've ever seen if we just give me an eraser and a pencil and let me have the report card for a while. So, I mean, you know, I want to deal in reality. So,
I got one more question. I'll let you go into the weekend. Would you agree to an interview with Maria Bartiromo on CNBC?
Absolutely. I think we should do it naked.
Well, I was going to ask you, that was my follow-up question. You and Maria have to do it naked, exactly. At least below the belt.
Absolutely. I'm not very modest. If I was her, I'm not sure. Yeah, it should be interesting. I mean, you would get a lot of people on. Can you get her to interview me? I'd love to talk to her. I really would. She's well personed.
We will have to send this out to her and see if we can get her to, sit down with you, because it would be a fantastic interview.
I sent Kramer's video to him, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because he used the theme the other day, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I was like, you like the theme? Hey, baby, I did this video months ago for you, and he didn't watch it. Yeah, I love that.
One more question. You got me thinking about Paul Newman, but then I hopped over to, the Clint Eastwood Super Bowl ad. You like it? You like the ad? You like the PR, the pump, or did you care? Did you see it?
I don't know who was in the Super Bowl. When was it? I don't know. I'm not very good at current events, dude. If we had a Super Bowl, it was. I think I got invited to a party. It was a Super Bowl thing. Was it like a barbecue somebody invited me to? I didn't.
I wondered if you saw the commercial that was getting all the hype from the Super Bowl. Clint Eastwood was
like
near.
This weekend?
Yeah, it was on at the Super Bowl. Just do a search on YouTube. We can talk about it next time.
I don't know who was on.
No, Clint Eastwood narrated a commercial for Chrysler that said Detroit is back, and I wanted to talk about your 2 cents about that. So, anyway.
I think the last time I saw Detroit, they were bulldozing neighborhoods, and they sold a stadium that cost like hundreds of millions of dollars for like $200,000 or $500,000. I want to go.
That's my hometown, and that was the Pontiac Silverdome, and it actually transacted for $560,000. So.
$560,000. You know how much copper's in there?
Yeah, for the Silverdome.
I would have bought that and went and just done the harvest for the copper.
I agree.
You'd make a fortune, but I bet you there's some taxes and things with the or there's some trick, or I would have bought it myself. I mean, I would have written them a check. I got money sitting around doing nothing. Maybe I could use my Pimco Nuveen auction rate preferred paper as a collateral. And use that to pay them off for their dome or whatever. No, that's classic. No,
so that's it. Any other final thoughts? We'll cut this and I'll let you go into the weekend.
I hope that a handful of people that are destined to lose a lot of money in the short order can watch this and understand that ETFs, ETNs, blue chip multinationals, there's no place to run and hide right now, and everything's linked, and try to get to some safety. I mean, that's all I have to say is this is a very dangerous period. You're going to look back on this day, and, I'm not saying we're not going to go, 10% higher on S&P or a lot higher, but you won't hold on to it because you fall in love, just like people do in stock. So, my advice right now is get to green, or, get to cash equivalents, 30-day T-bills, and take a break.
All right, Greg. Have a good weekend.
Talk. Yeah, have a great